Okay, we're going to play around now with something called JavaScript, which is coding. Up until now, we've written HTML code, but it isn't really code. It's just a method of placing things on the screen. And we've seen CSS style sheets, which is a way of sort of colouring things. But now we're actually going to do something interactive so that we can click on the web page and something happen. And we've done a little bit of this in previous lessons, particularly when we were playing with maps. We used the form. On the form there was a button, so if we typed in a place and pressed the button, something would happen. And we're gonna use a button on this page to make something happen. And what I want to happen is change this title from jab014 to Alice in Wonderland when I press the button. So we are going back to the jab014. We finished with the styles for the time being, so I'm going to close that down, and we're back on jab014. And after the last paragraph, as I said I was going to do something after this, that's where I want to start putting my buttons and things like that. So I'm going to start off by doing a new element called a button element, and the type is button. It might seem strange that it's a button, I've got to say what type it is, but there are one or two things that we can do with that. And what I want to do is apply a style to it. So this time, instead of going into the style sheet itself, I'm going to do it not only in the web page, but as part of the item itself. Later on we'll take this out and style it properly. But I want the width of this button to be 100 pixels wide. Now you might want to change this number, see what happens. Now I'm going to move this across and stretch it out, because I'm now going to write some JavaScript code. And what I want to do is say if I click, so on click, so if I click this button on click, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to start off with just two single speech marks. So I'm going to use both single and double speech marks in here. And I'm going to try and talk you through what I'm doing. So when I click, I need to go to the web page, and the web page is called a document. And then I need to get an element by its ID. Now what I mean by that is these are elements and these are IDs. So this is a P element and the ID here is 3. And what I want is to be able to change this jab014. So if I come up to here and give this an ID and call it main, I don't know, main title would be good. Main title of the page. So I've given this heading the name main title, and I'm trying to access this when I click the button. So the web page, get the element by its ID, and inside a pair of round brackets I need double quotes and then the name of the element, and we called that one main title. So when I click it, it's checking what I've clicked on the page and seeing if I've clicked the main title. And if I have, I want to change the text on here, and that is dot inner HTML. Now get the case right, okay? Not on click with a capital C here, and not all lowercase here. We need to get the case right, otherwise it's not going to work. The inner HTML, so what that's saying is inside this is the HTML inside this. So I'm talking about the word jab014 here. I can change that to, let's say, Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so that's what I want to change it to, but I haven't finished yet. This really needs to be wide. I want a sort of word on my button. So there's my button, the whole of that, that's an element. And remember we have an end one as well, so there's my end button. But the word that I want on my button is change title. Would be nice if we had drink me. Let's try that one. Drink me, because that was on one of the bottles, wasn't it, which made her small. So wow, that is a lot. I don't expect you to understand any of this code at all. I'm going to give you all the code that you need to do. All you need to do is make sure that you've got all the case correct, that you've got the right speech marks at the right place. Single, double, double, single. If you don't do that, it's not going to work very well. So that has created a button on my page. So I'm saving the jab014 and let's just refresh the page. And there you go. I've got my button labeled drink me. Okay, nothing's happened, but when I click it, the title changes to Alice in Wonderland. So now we're beginning to sort of get some interaction with our web page. So I want to be able to play around with all of these things shortly. Maybe put an image on the page that is not in the background. We can do that. So let's have a look at that one next.